Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we'll be starting a new text today, and which is called DurvAsanA PratIkAra Dashakam. But here they have put it as PratIkAra Dashakam. I think it is PratIkAra is fine. I don't think there is a PratIkAra. That may be a spelling mistake, I think. Now this text is available in this Sanskrit document site. Of course, since this is not like the Veda, the thing is, there are some Patha Bheda is there. Anyway, so wherever some Patha Bheda is there, I'll try to tell you that also. Now here, this text, in fact, how I came about is I was actually thinking of doing something because we have previously we finished another text. And I was thinking of doing something new. And I was reading generally I keep reading something or the other during the day. So I was reading one particular, one Diamond Jubilee celebrations happened for one Advaita Sabha in Kumbakonam, and they had printed a commemoration volume where they had printed, according to them, at least some more than 30 rare works, let us say, okay, Advaita works. So I was just going through that, and in that I saw this particular work. In fact, in that particular book, which is available in archive also now, this is listed as being authored by Adi Shankara actually. But then after reading this from that book, I was also searching for this on the internet. There I think, in fact, our Swami Paramarthanandaji also has talked about this text in a very brief manner as one of his, I think, Shivaratri talks or some talks. But most of the others consider this as authored by Vidyaranya, Swami Vidyaranya, who is a Sankaracharya of Sringeri. Now this attributing most of the text to Adi Shankara, it is there in the tradition, I think, because one reason maybe genuinely is that sometimes they don't know who is the author, correct? Normally it is supposed to be written in the whatever palm leaf manuscript itself, who has actually written this. Or some Mangala Shloka or Guru Vandana will be there normally in the beginning, where it will be mentioned that who is my Guru, or even the author's name itself can be there in a particular work. When some of these things are not there clearly, the default option is to attribute it to Adi Shankara, I think. So, even in some cases where the Guru Vandana is there also, for example, Tattva Bodha, there is a text. Most of us, we study the Tattva Bodha as the introductory text because it introduces you to all the Vedantic terminologies. Our Guruji used to teach that Tattva Bodha as part of the initial 6 months course when we did the Gurukula Vasam. But if you see some of the publications, Tattva Bodha is listed as being authored by Adi Shankara actually. But I don't think it is really authored by Adi Shankara. In fact, it begins with Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum, like that. So Vasudevendra Yogindra means most probably Vasudevendra Saraswati must have been the guru of the author, and generally Indra Saraswati as a title is for the Kanchi Mathadipatis. They are all Indra Saraswatis. So it was written by some Kanchi Acharya, we have to assume, I think, which is a reasonable assumption. And it doesn't look like being authored by Adi Shankara at least. Similarly, this work, even though many Panditas only would have attended that Advaita Sabha in and then they created this commemoration volume. But even then, I think there is some confusion with reference to who is the author. But anyway, now the consensus is that this has been authored by Vidyaranya. And Vidyaranya is a very great Acharya in our Guru Parampara. In fact, after Adi Shankara, of course, his immediate primary Sishyas, we really venerate them, respect them. There is Sureshwaracharya, Padmapadacharya, Totakacharya, and Hasta Malakacharya. Their works are also there, which we study. In fact, the last work we studied was the Shrutisara Samudharanam, which was written by Totakacharya. Then there is also based on the commentaries on Brahma Sutra Bhashya, we have a Vivarana Sampradaya and a Bhamati Sampradaya, you can say. Even in that, there are many Acharyas are there who have written commentaries on commentaries on commentaries like that. So they are all known in the tradition, in the Guru Shishya Parampara. Later on, Vidyaranya Swami, again, he was also both very well known for his other activities. Not only as a Vedanta Acharya, it is said that in the Purvashrama, Vidyaranya was the one who inspired Harihara and Bhukka, two Kshatriyas, to actually resist the invaders in those days and establish the kingdom of Vijayanagara. So he was instrumental in that. And then he is supposed to have worked with them as the prime minister. So Vidyaranya has had a very illustrious life, I think, like that. But Vidyaranya for us is more known for works like Panchadasi. Correct? Panchadasi is one of the Prakarana Granthas. We all study, at least most of the chapters we study, if not all. And then not only that, he has actually summarized the teachings of all the Upanishads in a beautiful work called Anubhutiprakasha. That is also another work we study normally in the tradition. Then even if you study the Brahma Sutra, he has written a work called Vaiyasika Nyayamala, where again every Adhikarana, in the beginning of every Adhikarana, in fact, when you do traditional study of the Brahma Sutra, we actually study the verses of Vidyaranya only first, because he summarizes the views of the Purva Paksha of that Adhikara and what is the Siddhanta. He gives it beautifully. Sometimes simply the first part of the verse will be the Purva Paksha, the next part will be the Siddhanta. So it is easy to memorize also. In fact, if you Sutra itself is supposed to be there for you to be easily memorized. But then Vaiyasika Nyayamala is the next level, you can say. If you memorize both the Brahma Sutra and the Vaiyasika Nyayamala, the teachings of the Brahma Sutra, what is the Siddhanta, it will be very easy for you to remember, recollect. And like that, he is He has written many other works also, okay, which we all study till now. So very important Acharya. And sometimes Vidyaranya Swami is also equated with Sayanacharya, Sayana Madhava, because the Vidyaranya's Purvashrava name is supposed to be Madhavacharya, not Madhvacharya, but Madhavacharya. And Sayana Acharya also is also called Sayana Madhava. There are some scholarly debates whether they both were the same person or not, but if he was also Sayanacharya, Sayanacharya is the one who has written the Bhashya for all the Vedas themselves. So that is a very, very huge work, okay. So Veda Bhashya, even today, those who study the Veda Bhashya, they study Sayana's Bhashya, in fact. There are other Acharyas, I think, who have written for different parts of the Veda also Bhashyas. But Sayanacharya has written for all the Vedas. So that is very huge, whatever he has done. And also our Vidyaranya has written Deepika for different Bhashyas. Like Deepika is more like a summary, you can say again. So like this, Vidyaranya means we can keep talking about Vidyaranya for days actually. So just to give you an introduction. So here, our Acharya is addressing one of the most important things for a sadhaka, because as a sadhaka, what do we face? Because we have all come to Vedanta in one way or the other, correct? There is something which has impelled you to attend a Vedanta class. Sometimes it may be totally, you may think that it is just by chance or serendipity and all that. But some karma has made you attend something and then you got interested. Or sometimes you read some book and then you were interested to further explore. Whatever may be the reason, you become a student of Vedanta. Now, Vedanta is all about knowledge. Okay, the pursuit of Vedanta itself is a pursuit of knowledge. But it may not start as a pursuit of knowledge. Understand that. Or it normally should not even start as a pursuit of knowledge. The only pursuit which all of us really have is the pursuit of happiness, actually, correct? All of you, everybody wants to be happy. In fact, the need to be happy is an unconditional one, correct? It's an unconditional pursuit. Why do I say that? Because if I ask you a question, when do you want to be happy? In the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening? When do you want to be happy? Means you'll say, no, why are you putting questions like this? I want to be happy all the time. There cannot be any restrictions on the time, correct? Nobody says that at least make me happy in the morning. I can be miserable thereafter. You don't want that. You want to be happy all the time. Or similarly, if I ask you the question, where do you want to be happy? In your home, in your office, or whenever you take a vacation, where do you want to be happy? Means there also you don't want any restriction, correct? Wherever I am, I want to be happy. So happiness is something you are pursuing regardless of the place or time. It is the only universal pursuit. In fact, even for animals, we can say that, correct? So happiness is what you are pursuing. But what is causing you problem? Why are you not happy then? Why are you not feeling happy, correct? That is the problem. You don't feel happy many times or most of the time for some people. but you do feel happy sometimes. So that is the universal experience of all the human beings. So now all your effort is what? You want to get rid of all this unhappiness whenever it happens, correct? Now, the source of this unhappiness itself, if you further analyze, okay, is what? Means only like two things. Broadly, we can say two things, correct? Either you are unhappy because you do not have something, correct? And you have a want. You want to have something, but you do not have that. That is a problem because you think that you cannot be happy without whatever you want. If something is not there with me, I am not happy. That is a problem. Then the other problem is what? If something is there, you cannot be happy. You want to get rid of. You don't want something, but it is sticking to you like a mosquito, let us say. You want to have a peaceful sleep. At that time, one mosquito will come right near your ears and it will be making some noise, correct? And you are also afraid, what if it enters into the ear? Something goes into your ear, it's always a problem. You cannot even do something, right? Your fingers don't go into your ears very easily. So there are things which you do not want, but they are there. They are chasing you, in fact. And there are things you want, but it's not coming to you. You are chasing them. So both sides there are chasing is happening. You are running away from something, at the same time you are running towards something also. And it is very difficult to balance these two, correct? So people are not happy. And normal people, 99.9% of people think that by either getting whatever they want or getting rid of whatever they do not want, they will be happy. And the entire life is dedicated only to that. Is that clear? Because all your actions are either to gain something or get rid of something in the hope that it will make you happy. But there is another universal experience also. What is that? Whatever you gain is not going to be with you always. In fact, in your own vision, you yourself are not going to be there always. That itself is a problem. Correct? You are not going to be there always. And whatever you gain also is not going to be with you. In fact, to keep it with you, you have to further put effort. That itself is a pain. Is that clear? That's why we say in Sanskritam we have a term, correct? Yoga means gaining something you do not have is called yoga. Then there is something called kshema. Kshema means what? Retaining whatever you have gained. Wealth once gained is not going to be there with you all the time. Even if you don't do anything and keep it also, inflation will eat it away, correct? And there are always taxes. There is also wealth tax and all that. If you don't do anything, it will be taken away by somebody. The government will take, thieves will take. So like that, kshema means you have to maintain something. You have to retain it. Yoga kshema is a term. And Bhagavan in the Gita he says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. I will take care of your yogakshema. Like that Bhagavan says in the Gita. But for his bhaktas, correct, who Ananyas chintayanto mam, those who are always thinking about me, or those who think that I am not separate from you. That is the better meaning actually. The ones who think that they are not separate from Bhagavan, for them there is no fear of gaining or losing. So they don't have to worry about gaining something or retaining something also. Anyway, we will come to that later. What I am saying is Yogakshema itself is a problem. because you have to put a lot of effort to gain something. You have to put a lot of effort to keep retaining it. Even if you retain it, another problem is there. There is something called law of diminishing returns. What is this law of diminishing returns? This you would have studied, correct? Those who have studied economics, accountancy and all that, even there we have something called law of diminishing returns. Means the same asset or resource does not give you the same result if you keep using it. Even the land, let us say you are cultivating a land. So you first time you get good harvest. Next time you may not get it. So you have what you have to do? You have to put lot of fertilizers, all that. So you have to further put something into it. Then only you can maintain it. But from a personal standpoint, also there is a law of diminishing return. What is that? The thing you enjoyed the first time, it doesn't give you the same joy the 100th time, correct? It is the truth. You have to accept it. Certain things, you enjoy it for the first time, it is okay, it is something exhilarating, let us say. Then the nth time, it is no more. You are now looking for some other experience. Because even in happiness, there is a law of diminishing returns is there. That's why you have different hit songs, correct? Even the song you listen to, you like it, first time you like it something, then you have it as your ringtone, you listen to it in your car all the time. Then after 1 week, you want another hit song. That song is now stale, it's gone. Like that, you can apply it to everything else also. Okay? Even whatever, some food you eat, or you go to some place, beautiful view and all that, first time, you are so enamored. The 100th time you go and just sleep, you don't you don't even look out of the window. Okay, all these things can happen, I'm saying. So happiness is a problem because you think that by gaining something you will be happy. Only in movies we say happy ever after and all that, correct? Happy forever. Two people are just holding their hands and walking away forever, they are happy. You can put one title also, happy ending. But that never happens. After that, how many fights they had, all that we don't know. So even after you gain something, you have a problem and it doesn't give you the same happiness always. That means you have to now, your attention also shift to something else. In fact, something is great only till you achieve it. After you achieve it, it is no more that great. Understand that. You have to now look for something else. This is the human experience. Now, normal people don't analyze all these things. They keep going from one thing to another and their life comes to an end. That's it. Then what they have collected, according to our belief, at least we say that by living your life only, you are accumulating lot of karma, either papa or punya, depending on whether you did the right thing or wrong thing. Because another problem is what in your pursuit of happiness, if you are ready to step on other people's toes, correct? You do not care. I want this because I want to be happy. People are like that, correct? They don't care about others' happiness or what others want and all that. You can step on other people's toes. You can grab it from somebody else. You are in some rat race, desperate competition. World is competitive. So in competition, everything is fine. All is fine in love and war. That is your philosophy. Means if you step on other people, they will also step on you. They are not going to be quiet. So then what? You are in fear because what if others cause me pain? And you are also having guilt. because you know that you have done something wrong in your pursuit of happiness. Nobody can claim that I did not know it was wrong. That people only give that as an excuse, correct? Once they are caught, they will say that I did not know it was wrong. Nobody does anything wrong without knowing it. Understand that? That's why Bhagavan has given us a conscience. All of us know what is right, what is wrong. You do something wrong only because you have more value for whatever you want than whatever is right and wrong. Correct? That's what our Puja Swamiji used to talk about, value of values. If you don't value your values properly, then you are making a bad bargain. In fact, the bad bargain is that if you do something wrong to whatever gain, whatever you like, your likes and dislikes are actually dictating your behavior rather than what is right and wrong, means it's a bad bargain, because you are only going to gain fear and guilt in the process. Because you are knowingly doing something wrong means there is guilt. And if you do something wrong, then you have to fear for the retaliation from the others, correct? Whether it is the state can come and arrest you, prosecute you, or even your neighbor can come and smash your window or something, we don't know. Anything can happen. So fear and guilt also you are gaining. But our Shastra says fear and guilt may be Drishtaphala. That's what is called Drishtaphala, correct? For every action, you are gaining something, okay? Because all action is anyway defined by whatever you want to achieve. Of course, whether you achieved it or not is one thing. You may achieve it, or your achievement may be less or more and all that. Or sometimes totally opposite also. All these things can happen. So with reference to the results of your action, there are fourfold results are there. They are all called Drishtapala. Along with that, you are also gaining guilt and fear also, if you have done something wrong. But there is also one more thing called Adrishta Phalam. Adrishtam is there in our Shastra. Means Adrishtam. Drishtam means that you are experiencing immediately. Whatever you can see, whatever you can perceive. But adrishtam means that which you cannot see, that which you cannot perceive, but it is still there. That is only a belief. But it is a believable belief. Understand that. Because it goes along with my experience. So this adrishtam is, if you do something right, you gain punya. Punya accumulates to your account, you can say. Similarly, if you do something wrong, papa is accumulating in your account. So the punya papa also you are accumulating. And if you if you are leading a normal life, in during your life you have accumulated punya and papa, then that becomes the cause for another life, we say. In another life also same way it is going. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Again and again you are born, you are dying. That is our belief. And according to your karma only you are born. What kind of, you don't even know whether you will get a human life next time. Understand that. So this human life itself is supposed to have been some good karma. We have all born as human beings with a certain evolved consciousness and the ability to know so many things and also discriminate, correct? The discriminatory knowledge. Viveka Jnanam is possible only for human beings. Human beings have a certain free will which animals do not have. They are more programmed, you can say, correct, than human beings. So when we are born like this, the greatest tragedy is that we take ourselves for granted. Understand that. Because you are born, then you are given a certain identity. You are so and so, you are the son of so and so, you are the citizen of this country, you belong to this race, all these are this gender, everything, so many identities are foisted on you. The identity itself is not a problem. But the thing is, you take them seriously, then your entire life is based on that identity only, correct? and you don't even question that identity. And then your wants are also based on somewhat on that identity. Understand that. Because you have an identification with your body, mind, sense complex, the basic wants are what? I have hunger, thirst. First you have to fulfill your hunger and thirst. It starts from there. And then as a child you are growing up. Once you become you are adolescent, means then more needs are there, bodily needs are there. So then you are going after that. So all these things are there because of the identities which you are having. So you have an identity based on your body, mind, sense complex, and because of that only, in fact, every other identity also is based on that, you can say. Because that body is of certain color, means then you think you are of a particular race and all that, or you were born in a particular place, you think, means based on that you have some identity. So all these identities you are carrying, and then based on that you think that you want all these things, and only if you fulfill these wants you can be happy. Now that is the normal life. But then in all these things, some people have a certain discriminatory knowledge, viveka. What is that viveka? See, I think that if I gain something, I'll be happy, or get rid of something, I'll be happy. But I find that really I am not becoming happy like that, correct? Like I told you, whatever I gain, I am not able to retain it all the time. And whatever I gain also is not giving me the same happiness all the time. And it is a pain to maintain it and retain it. And when I lose it again, I am dukkha is there. Any loss is also causing me pain. If you start analyzing your own life like that, correct? You think, you know that you are not able to gain any permanent happiness. Permanently, I am not able to be contented, satisfied. Forget happiness. I don't even have any contentment and satisfaction. Satisfaction is a better word, correct? Are you satisfied with your life? Are you satisfied with who you are right now? Can you claim that I am 100% satisfied with myself? I am totally contented. I don't mind whatever happens tomorrow. Why tomorrow? In the next 15 minutes also, whatever may happen, I don't care. I am totally contented, happy. Let whatever happen, let a tsunami come also, I'll swim in that rather than worry about it. Are you able to be like that? Means that's the question. Means you are saying no. No, what is the main reason for that? Again, you think that you are a wanting person. Understand that. The whole issue is because you take yourself as a wanting person. The want can be in the form of I want to gain something or I want to get rid of something, like I told you. Those are the two main categories. But did you ever question that premise or the whatever that is what is called avichara siddha, we say, correct? Whatever you have assumed without doing any analysis, have you ever questioned that assumption that I am a wanting person? That is the question. That I am a wanting being itself has been taken for granted. That's what I am telling you. Once you take it for granted, then your whole life will go away in all these pursuits of either gaining something or getting rid of something. That's all is your life, really speaking. But those who are more given to, you can say, analysis, pariksha lokan, Upanishad also says, karma chitan. So whatever world which we are experiencing, which we are gaining through karma, let us say, having analyzed that, then what? What is the conclusion? An intelligent person, Brahmanaha nirvedamayat, Upanishad says. The Brahmana here is one who is an intellectual, you can take. May not be the Brahmana jati, we don't have to take it. The one who wants to know Brahman, or one who is after Brahman can be taken as Ananda Swarupa, correct? One who wants happiness always is a Brahmana, we can take. In fact, everybody is a Brahmana, but one who is consciously understanding this, okay, and pursuing that, for that person, what happens? Nirveda Maya. He has a certain dispassion. Why? Because I have clearly understood from my own, not only your own experience, but you can also have the benefit of other people's experience. You don't have to experience everything to know something. Understand that. Your own experience is important. But then we also learn from experiences of other people whom we are also seeing. From all that, what do we understand? Karma phala is not, whatever maybe it is. It, it may be something small, it may be very, very big. Whatever maximum you can achieve in this earth also, even if you get that, or in the earth and in heaven, let us say, if you believe in heaven and swarga and all that, let us say either you become the greatest ruler of the world, of the earth, or you go to swarga and become Devendra, you become the ruler of the devas themselves. Even then what, as long as you think you are a wanting person, you cannot be happy all the time. Now, that means karma phala is not going to completely satisfy me. It will not make me fully contented. Because all karma phala are finite. Anything finite, anything which I gain in space-time will go away in space-time. Everything is anitya. Whatever I can gain as the result of any action, any achievement which I can make in this life, all of them are only anitya. It will go away in time. But I want something which will never go away, which will always be there. Now there is a fundamental question. Is there anything like that? Means there is something always. Otherwise, why are you searching for it all the time? The instinct for everybody is, we all want to be, like I said, we want to be unconditionally happy at all times, in all places, means basically you want to transcend space-time. And what is it that can transcend space? If you transcend space-time means you are the limitless, really, correct? You are not limited by space and time, means you have to become the limitless, let us say. But can you become the limitless? Become limitless itself is an oxymoron, correct? It is contradictory. Because if something is limitless, it has to be there already. It has to be there already here and now, correct? Here and now. You don't have to go to some swarga and achieve the limitless, because if it is really limitless, it has to be there. It has to transcend space itself, or it has to be everywhere in the space, correct? So why should you have to go anywhere? And if it is really limitless time wise, it should have been there in the past. It has to be there now. It has to be there always. Means basically that it transcends space and time. Means you don't have to go anywhere. It has to be available here and now, and it cannot be then achieved by any, as a result of any action. That is the Upanishad saying, Nasti akritaha kritena. Kritena nasti akrita. That which is really something which cannot be produced, cannot be achieved by as a result of any action. Now, if you have this nischaya, then the only question is there anything like that or not? The answer for that I already told you. The answer is what? If it is not there, you won't be seeking it instinctively. But our Shastra also comes and says there is this limitless Ananta. Ananta Ananda Swarupa. Brahma is there. There is a Brahma Vastu. This limitless is there. And you have to know that. And how do you know that? You have to know it as yourself. Because if it is really limitless, it cannot leave yourself out. Understand that. It has to include you. How can it leave you? But then I do not know it. Okay, then go to a guru. That's why you are all attending this class, correct? You have come to Vedanta. Now, you may not have undergone all this analysis and come to the Vedanta class, but something must be there in you which made you attend a Vedanta class, which made you read some Vedanta book. Otherwise, you won't be here. So, having come here and you are listening to Vedanta, means Vedanta is very nice. It is the best thing. Why? Because it doesn't condemn you that you are a sinner and all that. It is saying you are Sachidanandam Brahma. You are already the limitless. You are divine. You are supreme. You can add any number of adjectives like that. All that is you only. It is all you. So Vedanta is about yourself, studying yourself, the reality of yourself. In fact, we can never get tired of ourselves. However you look, you always like to look at yourself in the mirror, correct? Every day in the morning, you get up, you go and look into the mirror, you never get tired. Why? Because you have a certain Atma Buddhi on the Deha, correct? Wherever there is some Atma Buddhi, that Atma being Ananda Swarupa, even looking at your face also, you don't get tired. Then how can you get tired of this Vedanta? Vedanta is only talking about your Swarupa all the time. And Vedanta is wonderful that way. So you have come to Vedanta. But sometimes there is a problem also. Why? This jnanam, like any other jnanam, requires prerequisites. Understand that any knowledge, if you want to learn calculus, you cannot directly go and sit there. You should know some basic arithmetic, algebra and all that. Or you want to learn some advanced physics, means you have to know some mathematics already. Or some classical physics you should know, then only you can learn quantum physics, let us say. Whatever it is. Every knowledge requires prerequisites. Then what is the prerequisite for this Vedanta knowledge means? Since this is about yourself, the prerequisites are little bit more. It is not only some intellectual ability. Assuming that you are an adult and you have undergone some 12 years of schooling and some years of college education, or even if there is no college education, at least you have undergone some education, correct? And you have grown as a normal adult, means you have a certain intellectual capability. So in fact, to understand Vedanta, you don't require a lot of intellectual capability. Vedanta is very simple that way. Understand that. But it is more difficult from the standpoint of your emotional maturity, because Vedanta not only requires intellectual maturity as a prerequisite, Vedanta requires emotional maturity. Without emotional maturity, this jnanam, this knowledge will not take place. Why? Because it is about yourself. All other knowledge is about some object. For objective knowledge, in the universities and all that, they don't measure your intellectual, they don't measure your emotional maturity. Understand that. Of course, you should not be completely an insane person and all that. As long as you are accepted as a sane being, then they will take you. Okay. They only test your IQ. But nowadays, in some jobs and all, they talk about EQ also, correct? Emotional quotient, they say, not just intelligence quotient. Some companies, because you have to work in a team, you have to work with people, some jobs are all people oriented rather than knowledge oriented. Now there, if you have to interact with a lot of people and get work done and all that, you should be mature emotionally. So even in certain jobs, emotional maturity is a prerequisite, but it is a very big prerequisite in Vedanta. You have to prepare yourself as an individual. No, that is where the problem. Once you are preparing yourself, you are analyzing yourself even more. Normal people don't have too much time to analyze their own activities, their own thoughts and all that. They are all running after something so much that they are all focused on something else rather than themselves. Or some people are struggling to even survive. So day-to-day survival itself is taking so much time, you don't have any time to think about anything else. But once you come to Vedanta, you have to look at yourself, analyze yourself. Sometimes that becomes a problem. You you start making judgment. Already we are all having some level of self judgment, but this can increase. I'm saying you become a student of Vedanta, then you have another problem. How can I do this being a student of Vedanta? This is the other problem which is coming. Okay. At least till then you are not thinking like that. Now you think that, or others will also add to that. They will say you attend every week, you are attending Vedanta class, and still you are doing like this. So they will also use that as a weapon against you. Already they have so many other weapons. Now this is one more in their arsenal. In fact, your spouse will use that, I think, most probably. So you you attend Vedanta class and still you are doing this. Means there are, or you yourself may even think like that. That becomes a problem. Means you have to address all these things. It is all part of emotional maturity. Because when you have grown up in a certain environment, means you have picked up certain habits, certain thought patterns, all these things. And understand that just because you attend Vedanta class, it will not automatically change. Nothing changes automatically. In fact, even if you have an insight, let us say, you can have a certain insight about your own behavior, about others' behavior, and all that. But an insight also will not transform you automatically. Understand that an insight has to be repeated. There is certain effort involved in that, and there has to be a certain conscious effort. That's what I'm telling you. Because most of our behavior is unconscious or subconscious, let us say, correct? Because habits are all subconscious. So it's not a conscious thing. So even the way you think, or the whatever the emotional response you have in a certain situation, are all mostly unconscious or subconscious. It's not coming from the conscious mind. Even, in fact, many times after something happens as an adult, consciously you are ashamed of yourself. That's why you feel guilt and all that. So you feel ashamed because somehow you think that you should have avoided it. But at that time you did not have any conscious power to intervene in whatever was happening. That is the tragedy again. So now, as a student of Vedanta, consciously now I have to operate in this world. Consciously, as much as possible, I have to remodel my behavior, you can say, or reprogram myself. And in fact, I have to act more than react. These are all important things. And it's not about anymore, you cannot just keep on reacting. In fact, people know. They know that if you press this button, this fellow will react like this. They can even take advantage of that. Many people do that, in fact. All of us, sometimes we play also with our friends like that, but sometimes it is serious. People know that if you tell this fellow will react like this, and then we'll take advantage of that situation. These things are there. That's why one has to have a certain maturity where we act more than we react. Even our emotions, we have to use it. It's not that I'm not saying you should, once you become a student of Vedanta, you should not have any emotion. Then you will be like a rock, correct? You are not a stone or anything. Emotions are beautiful to have, in fact. We are all emotional beings, but you should not be drowned in your emotion, correct? You should use your emotion for your own enjoyment and whatever to benefit others and all that. Emotions are not a problem in themselves. uh, it's the question of whether you are the master of your emotions or your emotions are actually driving you. That's where we have to be a little alert. So as a student of Vedanta, I have to analyze myself and then overcome, let us say, certain tendencies, because we all have certain tendencies or inclinations. Now, all these inclinations are not always beneficial to myself. Particularly once I have become a Vedantin and I have gone for a certain pursuit of self-knowledge, then I have to identify all these inclinations and tendencies and habits which are not helping me in my pursuit. And they will not go away automatically, like I told you. You have to make conscious effort. How long means there is no time limit or anything. Till the time you are comfortable with yourself, only you will know that. Understand that. Nobody can come and give you any certificate. Of course, some people may give you certificate like you have changed and all that. Okay, you can take it in your stride. You will change. Everybody has to change. Once you are exposed to certain knowledge, of course, some transformation will take place. But consciously also you have to transform yourself, the way you look at yourself, the way you interact with the world. In fact, our world is nothing but some few people, correct? 10 people, 50 people, that's all is our world really. So the way you interact with others and the way you look at yourself, both has to change. There is a certain conscious effort required here, and any inclination or tendency or habit which is not helping you in your pursuit, you have to reprogram that. You have to resolve that. There has to be a certain resolution. So any tendency, inclination, habit which is not helping you in your pursuit is what is called DurvAsanA here. Okay, now let us come actually to the text finally. So DurvAsanA is what? Vasana means any, you can even call it as fragrance or smell and all that, correct? Something which sticks to you is Vasana. See, the best example for Vasana is you buy some hing, correct? Peringayam. In English, they call it asafoetida, I think. Okay, there is something called asafoetida. Mostly in Western cooking, they don't use it. But in Indian cooking, you cannot do without it. Okay. Now you put this asafoetida in some bottle, and then after it is over, you cannot use it for anything else. Let me tell you. Because even after you have used everything, that bottle will smell forever of that same asafoetida only. You cannot get rid of that smell. The smell is sticking still. It will be there. You do whatever you want. Like that, this vasana means what? Something which is there with you. It is all sticking with you. And it is durvasana also. It's not something desirable. It's undesirable. It has become undesirable, but you want some remedy. So even the most stubborn vasana, like asafoetida smell, you can manage. Maybe you put some hot water, you keep that container in sunshine for a few days. All that, maybe you can manage to get rid of that vasana, correct? That is what now we are talking about. What is the remedy to get rid of all this durvasana? They are all called pratikara. Pratikara. They are pratikara is the word here. In fact, here this also pratikara they have given. Should be pratikara. Both words are there. In some versions they call DurvAsanA PratIkAra. Here it is pratikara, like that. Here they have become dirgha. But anyway, DurvAsanA PratIkAra Dashakam is this text. The remedy for all these vasanas which are there sticking with you, all these tendencies, habits, which are all, they are all sticking with you, in fact, and they won't leave automatically. You have to put conscious effort. And what are those things which we have to do? What are the remedies for getting rid of all these things, so that we can assimilate the Atmajnanam? That is the main pursuit as a Vedantin, correct? As a mumukshu, as a seeker of freedom from all wants. What I need is, I have to get rid of all these things. I have to resolve these these issues which I see in myself. So I have to take effort And the first effort is you have attended this class. Now further, if you keep attending, then we'll see what are the specific remedies, because the author is in fact, the first one, he is just giving you a daily plan, okay, in general, day-to-day regimen, which is good as a Vedantin particularly, and then he is listing different DurvAsanAs and their remedies in the other 9 verses. So this Dashakam we will look into in detail, and we will continue in the next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.